Welcome back to Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. We are firmly getting into pre-draft season now. We're trying to get you guys prepped and ready. We're going to drop a mock draft for you on this episode, try to get through maybe 6 or 7 rounds of this here. We are joined by Johnny Slokes of @TheFifthDownFF and @JohnnySlokes for his personal handle here on the phone. How you doing, Johnny?
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the Beer Fueled Podcast. I have a beer in hand. My shirt is off. My pinky is out because I'm classy.
Fuck. I want my shirt off now.
We'll find out what you're drinking here in the next segment.
All right, and as always, the main 3 guys here. I'm @Nick Sparts. Across the table from me is Dan Thury.
@ThuryBFF.
And to my left, rocking I think what is his favorite shirt at this point, Bortles 316, is Christopher Hopper.
What's up, guys? How you doing? That camera is off a little bit. I mean, we can still see all of us, but we can also see the window that you normally can't see.
So somebody bumped the camera and we didn't reorient it.
Yeah. Oh, well. All of us are in the picture. You get more of Dan than you normally get.
I'm sorry.
and or you're welcome.
Yeah, and or you're welcome.
Hey.
All right, so we're going to do a mock draft in this episode. Johnny was kind enough to jump on here so we can have 4 different people doing takes on this mock draft. But before we get into that, we got a beer preview and some news for you guys.
Beer Fuel.
He said 2 things and it confused me, and I really had to think about which one came first there for a second. It's only been 140 plus episodes.
Yes, I trust you to figure it out eventually. All right, so we got Hand of Fate Hoptrocity on here. It is a 9.7% double IPA, and just kind of initial looking at it, it's a bit hazier and kind of a little darker than your standard double IPA would be. This is their second time out on the show. They're based out of Petersburg, Illinois, which is about half an hour from where we're located right now.
Yeah, half an hour from where we're located. Some Lincoln sites out there, so if you're on vacation, be sure to stop in and check those out. My hometown, so I was out there last weekend and picked up a growler.
All right, and then what are you drinking there, Johnny?
I'm just a little bit more plain than you guys. I just got a Labatt Blue.
Labatt, all right.
Going Canadian. I haven't even seen Labatt Blue in a while.
It's been a long time.
Huh.
Yeah, they got them around here. We're kind of close to the border.
Yeah,
Michigan's almost Canada.
You can get them down here, too.
That's like Minnesota.
Yep. Canada Light.
Yeah,
Canada Light.
Pretty much.
That's the official name of Labatt Blue, actually. Labatt Light.
Labatt Light.
It's Canada Light. Because Labatt is Canada.
All right. Let's move on to some news.
All right.
News.
All right, kicking us off first, we did get this confirmation that the 3-game suspension for Jameis Winston will stand. He is not going to appeal, so he is out the first 3 games of the year. And they actually have a short week after their 3rd week, so he may not be back until after their bye week in week 5.
Yeah, Fitzmagic does it again.
Finds a way to get on the field every single year.
Every single year.
By the way, our set is a mess right now. Like Jimmy Graham's laying on his back, and Randy Moss is down on his face, and we're really...
There's a weird orgy going on the table then, if that's the case.
What's up, Johnny?
I'm not even really worried about it, honestly. I mean, Mike Evans was doing better with Fitzpatrick last year than Winston anyway, so...
Yeah, but Cameron Brate wasn't.
Yeah, it's some of the ancillary pieces I worry about more, like Brate, Godwin, Jackson.
And that's if he even plays. Because there's been reports Ryan Griffin is on track to be the second QB in that offense.
Yeah, that worries me.
Oh, okay.
You have no fucking clue what he is.
All right. On the positive train, we're finally getting positive reports here. Andrew Luck is throwing without pain, so finally getting some progress in that one after 18 months.
Yeah.
So happy.
So excited.
No, I am too. He'll start to rise up in ADP. He was a top 5 quarterback beforehand. If he's throwing, as more good news comes out and he gets into some preseason games and stuff, that's going to skyrocket.
Yeah, as we talked about in the division preview for the AFC South, his weapons concern me a little bit. I think he had better weapons in the past than he does now, but he should still be a top 8 to 10-ish quarterback at worst if he's able to play.
Those weapons better.
I agree, and he will.
And then continuing with Colts news, Robert Turbin got a 4-game suspension for PEDs.
Yay!
That's great for the running back situation, right?
Yeah, he was just going to be a nuisance. So good.
Bring on Jordan Wilkins.
So is Jordan Wilkins the new Ben Watson? Is he clearing guys out here?
You probably.
Well, I mean, he took Mac out, or like he made Mac delay his
shoulder surgery.
His shoulder surgery.
Somehow there's logic to that. I'm sure.
Mind games.
We could bring in someone like Darkwa or even worse, like DeMarco Murray.
Oh, that would totally just mess everything up.
It's only a 4-game suspension. I think they're okay with their 3.
Yeah. Anytime you can clear out bodies, though, it's better for fantasy purposes.
That's a future fantasy problem. I don't want to worry about DeMarco Murray or fucking Darkwa.
Orleans Darkwa.
You're not going to predict that LeGarrette Blount gets cut and goes back to the Patriots again?
I don't need to do that.
All right. Well, that's it. All we have for news. Let's go ahead and get into a mock draft.
That was the wrong button.
Fantasy Mock Draft.
You're mocking me, aren't you?
I want to do more mocks. That was so awesome.
So
yeah, you like how I incorporated the old draft into the new one?
I think that's what got me more excited.
That was a stroke of genius, right?
So if you couldn't tell, Johnny, we haven't heard that drop yet, so we're getting quite excited.
I don't ever tell them what I'm doing or preview things for them, so they just find out during the show. It's funner that way. More fun. Yeah. Sorry, Nick's mom.
And we're off the rails.
All right, getting into the mock draft here. This is going to be a standard start 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 flex, half-point PPR style mock. We're going to try to get through 6 or 7 rounds here, 12 picks each. Each person is going to be drafting 3 teams. I will be kicking it off with the first pick. Hopper's got second, Johnny third, Dan fourth, and then just repeat through the rounds. So I'll call out each pick as we get to it here.
Let's go.
All right. I'm going to kick it off with the number 1 overall pick here. Considering the half-point PPR overall format, and I think he's probably the safest back, I am going to go Le'Veon Bell with the number 1 overall pick. It's a real tough debate, though. I could see going any of the 4 big guys in that slot and not be shocked. Hopper, you're up second.
All right. Well, same thing here with all of the 4 big guys. I'm going to go with my personal number 2 back, and that's going to be Todd Gurley. A lot of people have Zeke up in the 1 or 2 spot also. I think David Johnson has kind of fallen more towards the consensus 4 outside of these 3. I've seen him go 3. I've seen him go 2, but more of what I've seen is that. So I'm going to go Todd Gurley. The volume should be there even with Cooks in the offense, Goff having better weapons. I think that they're going to still try to run this offense around him.
All right, Johnny, you're up with the 3rd pick.
Well, you guys made it easy on me. I'm going to go Zeke. I think that with Dallas, the reason why I picked him over David Johnson is I think Dallas's offense is going to be a little bit better than Arizona, and I think people might underestimate Zeke's passing ability or pass catching ability a little bit. So, pretty easy choice for me.
Yeah, I just haven't seen it yet. I want to see it before I believe it.
Love you.
Or believe it before I see it.
Well, this is extremely easy for me. This is why I love having the 104 pick, because I get to pick the last of the top tier running backs. I'm going David Johnson. Shout out to the Ballers. He's actually personally my number 3, just because he's done it before as a pass catcher. He was extremely fantastic 2 years ago. Last year's freak accident does not concern me. The offense is going to flow through him. Yes, it's not great, but it's David Johnson.
So this is the point where you're past the first kind of consensus 4 guys in some sort of order, and this is where it starts to get a little interesting. You could go with one of the next running backs up. I personally am going to grab the safest wide receiver in the draft here, though, and got a guy I still have almost a full tier ahead of any other receiver, including DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going to go Antonio Brown with the 5th overall pick. I think he's just by far the safest overall receiver in this draft class. Hopper, you're up with 6.
Yep. Well, I'm going to go with who I think is the safest wide receiver in this draft class. I'm going to go with DeAndre Hopkins because if something happens to Ben Roethlisberger, I don't trust the options behind Brown as much. But with Hopkins, as long as it's not Brock Osweiler, you know it's good. And
currently he's under contract in Miami, so it should be safe.
Yeah, so it should be fine. And my other thing with Hopkins is the weapons around him are nothing. I don't believe in Will Fuller as an NFL wide receiver. I've made that,
very
abundantly clear. I like Kiki Kuti, but they don't really have Lamar Miller's kind of a marginal receiving back, so and they don't really have a tight end, so I like his insulation there.
Volume should be fine. I'm not worried about that at all. Johnny, you're up with the 7th pick.
I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger on Alvin Kamara, and I think I like him a little bit more than Barkley just because of what he can do overall, and I'm not really sure what kind of how they're going to really run that offense over there in New York. It could be more of a centered around the passing game, so I'm thinking Alvin Kamara over guys like Barkley or Odell Beckham at this point.
Well, speaking of Odell Beckham, that's going to be my pick. I'm going to grab my third of my top tier wide receivers. If you're talking about consistency, you're looking at 1,300 yards, 10 plus touchdowns, over 150 targets.
Yeah, as long as he's not hurt.
As long as he's not hurt, it doesn't matter who's in that backfield with him. He just gets it done every time.
All right. I am up with the 9th overall pick, and I'm going to go with my number 5 overall running back here, which is Leonard Fournette. I'm definitely seem to be higher on him than a lot of other people, but his touchdown consistency, the fact that he is the driving force of that offense, and I love that they got him in just a mauling blocking guard to open up holes for him this year. I think he's going to be awesome. I'm not that worried about the ankle, and I think the upside is there, and I think he's going to get probably the most volume outside of Zeke and Bell this year.
Yep.
Hopper, you're up at 10.
All right, I'm going to make Dan cringe here, and I'm going to go with Kareem Hunt.
Just kidding.
I believe in the volume that he's going to get. I don't think you're going to see a situation in the middle of the season where he's just taken off the field. Yeah, he had average over 4 yards to carry in 12 games last season. He was dynamic in the passing game, dynamic at making people miss and creating for himself. So I've got him rated, I think, as my 6th. So I'm going to take him.
All right, Johnny, you're up at 11.
But I think it's time to pull the trigger on Barkley.
I was typing it in before you even finished saying it.
Yeah. I just think I was not honestly not expecting him to make it to 11. I just think it's a pretty good value for him.
No, I wasn't either. I was expecting to take him at 9 possibly, but Fournette was still there, so I have him slightly higher.
If I could read my own rankings, I would have taken him, but that's besides the point. I missed on that.
Yeah, there's always wild cards in drafts. Somebody shows up too drunk.
Yeah.
Eddie Lacy in the third round.
The thing is I don't have my rankings sorted yet, or my projections sorted yet, because I don't want to put bias into how people are falling, so I overlooked that.
All right. Well, Dan, you're up at 12.
I'm going to do my picks here back to back. I'm assuming that's what you want us to do. Someone doing Keenan Allen and Michael Thomas are at the 112 and the 201. These are my 2 favorite receivers outside of the top 3 receivers. Keenan Allen could be a top 5 in targets with Hunter Henry gone and the unknown of who the second receiver is going to be between Mike Williams and Tyrell Williams. And plus, he's been able to get it done the last few seasons there when he's been healthy. Michael Thomas, on the other hand, gets Drew Brees. There's no Mark Ingram there, so they are for the first 4 games, so they may go pass heavy to start the season out. And Thomas just continues to get it done. He's a big body receiver for a guy like Brees. So that's what I want to go with.
And we're just making a mess of things today. Thankfully, it was a figure and not a beer bottle.
Yeah, I should know. It was a beer can.
Yeah, it was a can, thankfully. Don't knock any of the bottles, please. We don't need that type of
Lead
excitement.
Feather Black Ale. Anyway, moving on.
All right, Johnny, you're up with the 202.
I'm gonna go with Devontae Adams at the 202 over AJ Green and Mike Evans. I feel like he has the best chance to get 10 plus touchdowns playing with Aaron Rodgers.
Hopper, it's a mock. You shouldn't be upset about getting
get
sniped
upset
on a
getting
mock.
sniped on
I
everything.
always get upset getting sniped. It doesn't matter if it's a mock or not. I'm gonna be upset about getting sniped. I'm not
Well, you're on the clock with the 203.
Hold on. I didn't have enough time to think about this.
Well, going through the first round here, we had Bell, Gurley, Zeke, Johnson, Brown, Hopkins, Kamara, Beckham, Fournette, Hunt, Barkley, and Allen. A little heavier on receiver than I've generally seen, especially for a half-point PPR. Usually I see 3, not 4.
Yeah.
Well, 1 extra.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players you can keep throwing around up there. A lot more running backs that can fill up those that middle tier.
All right, I'm gonna do something that I did in another mock draft with this team. I'm gonna take Melvin Gordon here. I was debating between him and Julio Jones just because I said early on that I would talk about my thought process. But when I look at points scored, at the way running backs are going, at the fact that you're starting 2 plus a flex, and there's a little bit more depth at wide receiver, I'm not going to pass up the opportunity to take 2 potential top 10 fantasy backs.
All right. This makes my pick real easy here. I'm going to grab Dalvin Cook.
Damn it.
Good call.
Fournette Cook to start this team here and out of the 9th slot is an excellent start. I can pretty much just go wide receiver heavy from here on out, and I trust both those guys to carry me this year.
Exactly my reason for going Hunt and Gordon. I can go wide receiver heavy the next couple of rounds.
All right, Dan, your team that you started with Beckham out of the A slot.
We're gonna go a little bit more balanced. I'm gonna go with LaShawn McCoy here. This is right about the range where he's been going, maybe a little bit early. For me, I'm not as concerned. He is the focal point of this offense. He proved last year that he can post pretty efficient numbers even in an offense that sucks. And I think he's going to have to do it this year with guys named A.J. McCarron, Nathan Peterman, and Josh Allen.
Well, and a note that I saw today also with Brian Dabble as the offensive coordinator there and Sean McDermott, between the two of them, there's been one season where they've passed more than they've ran.
Even better for McCoy.
So McCoy's going to have a ton of volume.
Yep. I cannot hate on a Wolverine pick at this point in the second round.
Nope.
Really?
And he regenerates ACLs, so there's that.
Hashtag Wolverine. All right, Johnny, you're up.
All right, I'm going to stay a little bit more even with this one, and I'm going to go Mike Evans.
Ooh.
I like him a little bit more than A.J. Green. I think he has a bounce-back season playing in that division. So,
All right. Hopper, you're up. You started with DeAndre Hopkins with your first pick. Who are you taking in the second?
I'm going to go ahead and get some insulation here at running back, because if you don't get a running back in the first two rounds, you're kind of screwed. I'm going to go ahead and take Jordan Howard. Even on a crap offense last year, he had over 1,000 yards. People are down on him. I'm personally not. He's been working on his pass catching from year 1 to year 2. He improved his catch rate by 20%. Yes, you've got Tariq Cohen there, but I think Tariq Cohen works more as like a gadget guy out of the slot and out of different situations and doesn't necessarily hurt Jordan Howard as much as some people think he will.
All right. I was not expecting to own this guy in any league, but I'm grabbing Julio Jones here at this pick to pair with Antonio Brown.
Well, that was my other thought back when I took Gordon because he was the next best available.
Still available.
But I
This
really
is why you mock.
That's why I was a little surprised when you grabbed Mike Evans. I'm like, oh, well, Julio for me then?
Well, I thought about Julio back at 10, but for me, then with the Howard pick, like I mentioned, I'm really hesitant to go wide receiver at the top of the draft this year.
Normally I am too, but if I can grab Brown and Jones, I will probably just roll with that.
Well, and you tend to have good luck at hitting, on $1 running backs and crap. So
It is a skill of mine. Dan, you're up.
I'm going to end the slide of A.J. Green because I love A.J. Green. If he's healthy, he's always been a top 5, 6 on pace type of receiver. I expect the Bengals to regress positively this season, and A.J. Green's going to benefit the most out of that.
All right. Johnny, you're up out of the third slot.
I don't normally go running back, but it seems like all the receivers that I wanted for this team, they're just not there. So I'm gonna go Devontae Freeman and pair up with Zeke, and I think that'll take care of my running backs for a while.
Yep. I mean, I definitely like that pick there. Hopper, you're up at the 2.
I'm going to go with Doug Baldwin. I think Doug Baldwin is going to have a career year this year. You've got Brandon Marshall there, but you're absent Jimmy Graham. I think Marshall takes some of that work. I don't think it hurts Baldwin. He's really going to be the primary wide receiver target, and I think they have to throw more than they probably ever have because of the retooling on this defense. So it wasn't really a debate or a hesitation for me right there.
All right. Well, that kind of takes the last receiver I was possibly eyeing here at the turn out. So I'm going to go double running back here to end the second and start the third round, and I'm going to go ahead and grab McCaffrey and Mixon.
I love it.
So Bell, McCaffrey, Mixon. I'm a real light in running back for the first 3 rounds, but that trio should serve me well throughout the season here. Very, very safe overall with the first 2 picks, and Mixon's an upside play. Just to kind of quick run through the starts here. Team 1 is Bell, McCaffrey for the first 2 rounds. Gurley, Baldwin for Team 2. Zeke, Freeman, Team 3. Johnson, Green, 4. Brown, Jones, 5. Hopkins, Howard, 6. Kamara, Evans, 7. Beckham, McCoy, 8. Fournette, Cook, 9. Hunt, Gordon, 10. Barkley, Adams, 11. And Allen Thomas, 12. Is there any team here that you like more than the others?
It's a little early for me to be like, oh my God, I love this team.
I like them all. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, right now there's not a lot to hate on. I like,
a lot to separate them.
I like Freeman and Elliott. I think that's a good pairing. I think that the Brown Jones pairing could really pay off well. So Johnny, Nick, good job on those. But let's talk about that more when we get through a few more rounds here.
All right. Well, you're up with the second pick in the third round.
I'm going to go with Jerick McKinnon. I'm going to pull the trigger. He's in a Kyle Shanahan offense where he should excel. Mitchell Renz, shout out at Mitchell Renz 365, tweeted out something yesterday about the comparison between McKinnon and just his size and his peripherals versus some other Kyle Shanahan backs. So I really love him in this offense. So I've got him projected highly this year. So I'm going to go ahead and take him to pair with Baldwin and Gurley as my running back too.
Can't hate on that. That's about exactly where I've got him. So, Johnny, you're up with the 303.
Well, he went with the former Minnesota Viking. I'm going with the current one, Adam Thielen, to go as my first wide receiver taken in this draft, and I feel like it's a pretty strong wide receiver one for me.
All right, Dan.
I'm not really worried about like Diggs taking too much of his work. I think Diggs' touchdown rate was a little bit too high last year. Like, he had 7 career touchdowns before he had 8 last year. So I think it'll be Adam Thielen's turn this year.
All right. Dan, you're up with the 104 or 304.
I'm not a huge fan of the running backs that are available at this spot, so I'm going to take my personal man crush, and that's going to be Amari Cooper for this season. I think this is a guy that's going to be seeing top 10 numbers. If you look at what John Gruden has produced over the 11 seasons on average, through those 11 seasons, the wide receiver one has posted top 10 numbers. Cooper is the flat-out number one in this offense.
All right. I am up with the 105. I'm kind of in a weird spot right here because actually I'm kind of out of running backs and receivers I like. So I'm actually going to switch to tight end here at this spot, and I'm going to go ahead and grab Gronkowski here at the 305. Hopper, you're up at the 306.
So at the 306, I was looking at your running backs, and I'm kind of with you. This is the part where I'm going to kind of take a break on that. There's 2 guys that I've got really close here for wide receiver, or really 3 guys I have really close here at wide receiver. And those are Demaryius Thomas, T.Y. Hilton, and Tyreek Hill. I'm going to go ahead and take T.Y. Hilton. We know what he is with Luck. We've got good news on Andrew Luck. The other 2, you've got Tyreek Hill that's going to have Patrick Mahomes coming in at quarterback. Demaryius Thomas, who's going to have Case Keenum coming in at quarterback. So quarterback switches make me a little weary. I think Hilton and his rapport with Andrew Luck is going to have a little bit more insulation for me, a little bit more safety there.
All right. Johnny, you're up at the 307.
Well, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, I don't really care for like a lot of these receivers in this range. There's a big step off at running back. And I know Rob Gronkowski just came off the board, but I kind of like Travis Kelce. So I'm gonna take Travis Kelce. It gives me a running back, wide receiver, and a tight end that are all what I believe at least in the top 10 in their position. Obviously, Travis Kelce is one of the best at his position, so I'm gonna roll with him.
All right.
At this point in the draft, just kind of just how it's fallen. If this was my actual team, I would actually make the same pick. This is gonna be Stephon Diggs. I think he's the number one in this offense for sure. I think he's going to pair up very, very well with Kirk Cousins. And you're going to see another great combo pairing with him and Thielen again, and I want a part of that.
All right. I am up at the 9th pick here. We're kind of dropped down into another tier entirely for me, so give me a split second to look.
So just to recap while Nick looks at that, 3rd round so far, we've got Joe Mixon, Jerick McKinnon, Adam Thielen, Amari Cooper, Rob Gronkowski, T.Y. Hilton, Travis Kelce, Stephon Diggs. As we run kind of into rounds 4, 5, and 6, we're going to start to see a little bit of dart throws, more so some safety guys that aren't necessarily sexy picks, but have some good floor values.
All right, this one I am going to try to triple up on running back, and I'm going to take a shot. I'm grabbing Darius Geis here in the 3rd round. I believe in the talent.
I knew you were going to.
That is a giant shot. Now, with that team, it concerns me because you are close to the turn, so you may have a wide receiver come back to you that's decent, but we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Yeah, I
He's
figured.
going there. I'll probably never have him.
Yeah.
I think he's going to start creeping up into the early 4th, late 3rd.
Yeah, about a round early for me.
All of his hypes.
I'm just starting to look at the next guys, and it's like, look, I'm taking him.
He's my next running back up in my rankings, though.
All right, Hopper, you're up.
All right, so the next team is the one that I went running back. I went with Kareem Hunt and Melvin Gordon. What I was trying to do here is go tight end, but Kelce and Gronk are gone. A little early for Kelce for me at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and grab Tyreek Hill. He's a dynamic enough receiver. You've seen him kind of progress the last 2 years. He's still young. Mahomes has a giant arm. Watkins doesn't concern me for his volume. I mentioned Thomas is the other one I kind of have in the same tier, but he's not produced for the last 2 seasons, or seasons now, really. Well, the last season. So, and with Keenum coming in, I'm feel more comfortable with Tyreek Hill here.
All right, Johnny, second to last pick in the third round.
Oh, reliable Larry Fitzgerald. I think
That's a
that
good call.
right now I'm just really still not interested in any of the running backs on the board, and he's just the best available for wide receiver. So I'm gonna pair him up with Devontae Adams and look to see what comes back to me on the turn.
All right, and Dan, go ahead and make your third round pick, and we'll do a beer review.
Okay, this is why you mock, because I like to try different strategies out. I'm actually going to go with another receiver, and that's going to be Allen Robinson, one of my favorite sleepers, kind of. Not really a sleeper. I'm sorry, not a sleeper. One of my favorite re-breakout type of players, I think, in this offense with Matt Nagy. I think he could feast. When he's been healthy, he's averaged over 150 targets. So
I think target player might be a better description.
Target player, thank you. Yeah, words are tough for me this morning.
That's who I was thinking about too. I was thinking about Allen Robinson instead of Larry Fitzgerald, but I just thought the safety of Fitzgerald was.
Well, that's completely fine with me. I love Fitz too.
All right, well, we are through 3 rounds. Let's do a beer review, and then we'll recap what we've done so far.
Beer review.
All right, what do you guys think of Hand of Fate's Heptrosity Double IPA?
For a double IPA, I love it. It doesn't taste like it's a double IPA. You don't get that alcohol bitterness. It's like you mentioned in the intro. It's a little bit darker in color, so it's a little bit maltier, which gives it some sweetness to it, and then a little bit of juiciness from the hops in it. I think that the fact that they malted this a little bit more than you'd expect from a double IPA, though, really helped hide the bitterness of the alcohol content.
That was beautiful. I like tear up on that review.
Wow,
That was good.
I'm in a zone today.
That was impressive. And for a Dan review, this is fantastic. I can't follow that up. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it's excellent for a double IPA. Not super heavy on the alcohol taste, but you do taste it. So it's not one of those that's hiding it from you. So you can tell it's a stronger beer, but it doesn't taste 9.7
and you'll
strong.
feel it.
It's gotten stronger as it's warmed up too.
That is also true. But overall, I love the maltiness of it, and I love that it's just got that hint of that New England style juice to it. Excellent double IPA. How's the blue?
How's the Labatt?
It's going down smooth.
It's all you can ask for.
That's what she said.
All right, let's go ahead and quick recap the first 3 rounds here. First round, or I should say, first team, we've got Bell, McCaffrey, Mixon. So running back heavy to start with the first team out of the slot. Second team went Gurley, Baldwin, McKinnon. More balanced approach there. Third team, which was Johnny's, is Zeke, Freeman, Thielen. So going double running back with a receiver. Dan goes Johnson, Green, Cooper. So starting with a stud running back and a pairing with a couple wide receivers. Fifth team is starting Brown, Jones, Gronk. So completely punted the running back position, just going for studs at other spots and going to try to go for some value running backs later. Hopper goes Hopkins, Howard, and Hilton out of the 6th slot. So just trying to hit on a couple studs at multiple positions. Johnny goes Kamara, Evans, and Kelsey, trying to get a stud at three different positions there.
That's real good balance.
Dan goes Beckham, McCoy, and Diggs out of the 3rd slot, trying to grab 2 top-end receivers to go with McCoy. 9th slot, Fournette, Cook, and Geist, trying to just load up on back-end running backs there. Going real young, so that team is either going to be real good or real bad, I think. Hopper goes Hunt, Gordon, and Hill. 11th slot for Johnny goes Barkley, Adams, and Fitzgerald. And the last team we've drafted through 3 rounds is Allen, Thomas, and Allen Robinson going pure wide receiver out of the 12th slot. Any of these teams kind of interest you in any way, or they think that you're kind of an interesting strategy?
I thought that the 3 running back, 3 wide receiver thing at the front was an interesting strategy, just because my personal preference is to build my team with balance and not go heavy at any one position, just because of some of the risk that's there. But if you're going best available, then this is why we mock. You get to try out different strategies. So
Exactly.
I think that's interesting, but I think that you can win that way too, especially with the 3 running back strategy if they all hit.
All right. And to kick us off with the 401, we got Dan coming back around the turn.
We're going to keep with the 0 running back strategy here. We're going to go Golden Tate. I want to pair up my 3 with my 3 wide receivers, plus that flex is now filled up completely. This is why you mock.
It is why you mock. You get to try different things.
All right. So we got a wide receiver heavy start for Dan out of the 12th slot, going back to 11. Johnny, who you taking?
I'm gonna take Alex Collins. I think that he can quietly be a nice little RB2 over there in Baltimore. I'm not too worried about the other backs in their backfield, and I think that he's being a little bit overlooked at this point.
Yeah, he's not my next running back up, but I think he was second. So he's right there in that tier for me. So I'd like the pick. Hopper, you're up at 10.
All right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do what I wanted to do last round with the tight end. I'm going to go with Zach Ertz here in the 4th round. I really like the way that this team's shaping up with Hunt, Gordon, Hill, Ertz. You've got potential, top 12 guys at every position so far.
All right, I am up out of the 9th slot here. And I know he would probably fall later if this was a real draft, but I know he will not fall later with the people who are in this room right now. So I'm going to go. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong team. I don't want to grab another running back here.
I knew he was probably going to take.
That makes me feel better.
Zero
because you're going to take who I think you were taking.
Zero wide receiver strategy.
Just to recap, while he looks into this, Golden Tate so far, Alex Collins, Zach Ertz have gone in this 4th
Before
round.
Travis Kelce. That's
Travis Kelce went in the 3rd round.
Did he? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
307.
So Nick is going to go with Juju Smith-Schuster in the 4th.
I don't love him as my top receiver, but when I've got Fournette, Cook, and Geis, I'm fine with kind of having a downgrade as my wide receiver 1.
Got to take a throw on somebody.
Yep. And for my next pick here at the 405.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to go with Kenyon Drake. I'm going to balance out this team with Beckham, McCoy, and Diggs with a guy like Drake, who I don't have to rely on so much as my RB1, but he could be a huge RB1 upside at this pick.
He does have upside, and I think RB2 is a safe floor for him. I like that pick.
Johnny, you're up at the 7.
All right. I'm going to stick with balance here, and I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers.
All right, the quarterback goes.
Yeah, we got into the 4th round at least. That's not too terrible.
That's where Aaron Rodgers should be going.
I feel like it's given me like a good player at each position at this point in the draft, and I'm just trying something a little bit different with this team.
Yeah, I like it.
And that's why you mock.
Hopper, you're up at the 6.
All right, I've got 2 stud wide receivers here, so I'm going to go ahead and get myself a little bit of safety at the running back position. I'm going to go with Lamar Miller, which, if you listened last year, is really surprising for a lot of people, but he's a quintessential running back too. He gets a ton of volume, and I expect Foreman to start the season on the pup with that Achilles injury. Average recovery time's 340 days for that. He hurt it in November, which would be put him at about a year away from that. And they don't necessarily come back strong in that first year anyway. So I think Lamar Miller has a lot of insulated value is really the only running back in this offense.
Yeah, if you've been listening to the show, we've kind of pushed our chips in on Miller and being just
smart.
Because Foreman probably can't come back.
It's a very, very
the
smart
efficiency's
pick.
not there. The volume is, and volume does
Every
things.
time it seems like he ends up losing a little bit of volume towards the end of the year. He ends up getting like nicked up here and there, and then you see Alfred Blue in.
Yeah,
no one wants to see Alfred Blue.
It's true, but
nobody.
It's a weekly game, so if he's winning you weeks at the start of the season, it helps.
And then you sell him if you don't want him.
He's finished as a 16 and the 20, and to me, I've got 2 of the safest running backs, if anything, in Jordan Howard and Lamar Miller, who have both performed in shit offenses.
Yeah, both should be at worst RB2s.
Yep.
All right. Coming onto this team here where I have not grabbed a running back yet, I will go ahead and grab the running back I was thinking of grabbing out of the 9th slot here. So I'm going to start Brown, Jones, Gronkowski, and a guy I seem to be much higher on than most, Deion Lewis.
I love this pick.
No,
I was say higher than most. Not in this room.
I love Deion Lewis. I think he's very much the RB2 there.
Yeah.
Or the RB1.
Yeah, I think he is the guy. He's going to get the pass catching work. It's a half-point PPR league, and I just trust him to see more consistent high-leverage plays where he's going to see less stacked fronts than Derrick Henry's going to see. Dan, you're up at I believe that is the 309 or 409.
I'm going to go with running back that kind of gets slept on a little bit here. Maybe it's a little bit too early, but I have him ranked higher in my rankings. That's going to be Mark Ingram. I know he's missing 4 games here, but that may be tough to swallow. But with David Johnson as my RB1, I think I could take that hit for the first few weeks.
Can't do it. Not when he's missing 5 of the first 6 games.
Yeah, I can't either. He needs to go a round or 2 later.
It could end up paying off, though.
He's got to survive, though. That's going to be a tough team to deal with for those first couple of weeks.
He's going to have to get somebody that can hold those first 4 weeks or potentially hold those first 4 weeks.
Because he may find himself in a hole if he loses the first couple games because he doesn't have a true running back, too.
Your hope with that is to get out of there 2-2.
Yeah, if you can get to the him back at 2-2, you're doing okay.
Yeah.
All right, Johnny, you're up.
All right, I'm going to look to balance out my team a little bit with this one and go Alshon Jeffrey. That gives me Adam Thielen and Alshon Jeffrey. I feel like it's a pretty good combo to go with Zeke and Freeman. And I'm looking to see what comes up here on the turn.
Yeah, I like that. Hopper?
Not a fan of Alshon Jeffrey.
In the late 4th, though?
Kind of. I mean, based on what I had him projected, yes. Based on my heart, because as a Bears fan, it's okay. But based on where I have him projected, no. I like him another two, somewhere in the 5th or 6th. So for me with this team, I've got Todd Gurley, Doug Baldwin, Jerick McKinnon. I'm going to try to keep balance here. There were 3 wide receivers I mentioned earlier as being in the same tier for me, and one of them has made it back to me. So I'm going to go with Demaryius Thomas. I kind of had him in that Hill tier, but we saw last year that Case Keenum can support 2 wide receivers, Demaryius Thomas, Cortland Sutton, Emmanuel Sanders. I think Sutton gets kind of eased into this. He got a lot of raw talent, but it was raw. So I like Demaryius Thomas with Case Keenum. I think he can definitely support him. They don't really have a tight end option there that they're going to have to support. So especially in the 4th round.
All right. Well, this team desperately needs a wide receiver, so I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 here, and I'm going to go for 2 completely opposite players. First, I'm going to grab Brandon Cooks for a major upside swing here as a possible boom-bust wide receiver 1, and then I'm going to pair it with Jarvis Landry here.
Completely different.
Completely opposite.
Completely safe.
I like it. I don't hate it.
So now I've got 2 safe-ish running backs, an upside running back in Mixon. Cooks is a boom-bust wide receiver, and Landry is a safe wide receiver to round out the first 5 picks for that team. I actually really like that start. Hopper,
Yeah, if you need wide receivers, it's a good balance.
Hopper, you're up back coming around the turn.
All right, I'm going to keep in with the balance here, and I'm going to go ahead and take a tight end higher than everybody's taking this tight end. He's a good value pick, so this might be a reach based on his ADP. I'm going to go with Delaney Walker. He's had 100 targets in the last 4 seasons. Mariota uses his tight end. You can say what you want about having Corey Davis there along with Rashard Matthews, but Delaney Walker has been his safety net. And he's in the last year of his contract, sure. Johnny Smith may cut into that a little bit, but I don't expect Johnny to really burst on the scene until next year. It was between him and Greg Olsen. I knew I was taking a tight end, but Delaney Walker seems to be a little bit safer with the foot injury thing for Olsen, so I kind of like Olsen around later.
Yeah, and that's a team that is due for some positive regression. Mariota was 3% below his career average up to that point in touchdown percentage.
He was hurt, so...
I mean, the whole offense was just inept.
Yeah, that'll do it. The smash mouth running game.
Yep.
Quote unquote.
Johnny, you're up at the 503.
All right. I'm going to take a chance with a rookie running back, Royce Freeman.
Atta boy.
Yeah, I feel like I really like to have a running back at my flex, and I think that he has pretty good upside in that offense.
We're going to go back-to-back rookie running backs here. I'm going to go with Rashad Penny here. I love the Royce pick. That was in my thoughts for this pick as well. But I'm going to go with Penny, who I think is going to at least see the safer volume to begin the season, and they kind of help, I guess, even out the Mark Ingram pick.
All right. Well, a guy I was not expecting to own on a lot of teams here, but if he's going to fall to me at the 505, I'll take him all day, and that is Jay Ajayi. I don't love it, but
I don't either.
No, I got him as a kind of a fringe running back too, but with kind of the names that have been cleared out here already. He's the guy I'm going to grab here to pair with Deion Lewis, and we'll try to run Brown, Jones, Gronkowski as the main focal point of that team, with Lewis and Ajayi kind of balancing it out a little bit. Hopper, you're up at the 506.
All right, so I hate what's there at running back because there's absolutely nothing pretty there. So I'm going to look here around later to potentially go quarterback, and I think I'm going to pull the trigger on this, and I'm going to go ahead and take Russell Wilson here in the 4th. Again, trying to keep balance here. It was between him and Greg Olsen with this team that is DeAndre Hopkins, Jordan Howard, T.Y. Hilton, Lamar Miller, but I think Wilson's with this defense going to have to throw probably more than he ever has. Also, he found a way to get it done last year, and he's definitely the QB2 for me, so I like him in the 5th as much as I don't like taking quarterbacks before about the 8th.
Hey, I mean, in this type of draft where quarterbacks are falling a little bit, that's a great pick. Johnny, you are up.
All right. I pretty much need everything at this point. I have one of everything, so I'm not really a big fan of the running backs that are available. So I'm gonna go wide receiver. I'm gonna take Marvin Jones.
All right, so you paired Jones with Evans as your top 2 receivers on that team?
I mean, I'm not obviously not as big of a fan of Marvin Jones as I am Golden Tate, but I do like his upside. He's the deep threat on that team, and I already have Mike Evans, so I just needed someone to pair him up with.
All right, Dan, out of the A slot.
I'm going to go with a guy who I would feel as comfortable as my wide receiver too, but if I can get him as my flex option, I feel a lot better. And it's me, Devin Funchess here, because I think he is for sure going to see at least 90-plus targets in this offense. He is the wide receiver one to at least start the season out. I love DJ Moore, and he could be that towards the end, but at least to start out the year, and as he proved last year when they traded away Benjamin, I love Funchess in this spot.
All right, well, I'm going to draft a guy I thought I would never, ever, ever say his name that I'm
You said that a lot.
Ever. This one I'm like really pushing. Josh Gordon.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but fifth round value is 2 rounds below. He's going in ADP, and
we'll talk about it on Wednesday's episode.
He's a guy where I can pair him with Juju here, and if Gordon can end up playing as my 1, fantastic. If he ends up being a 2 or a 3, I'm just a little weaker wide receiver for this team.
Yeah, we'll get there. I'm also going to take somebody who feels a little bit gross just because of the team that he plays for, but when he sees over 100 targets, his averages for that would have put him at the wide receiver 9 last year. I'm going to take Randall Cobb. You got Aaron Rodgers throwing the football. Yes, you've got Devontae Adams there, but Rodgers is very, very throw happy. That offense is very, very throw happy. And outside of those two, there's really nobody there. You got a ton of rookie wide receivers plus Jimmy Graham. And he hasn't traditionally used the tight end. I like Jimmy Graham, but I think he's the third option. So give me Randall Cobb in that upside when he sees that many targets, because from an average standpoint, that puts him as easily a wide receiver 2.
All right. Then we're on to the 11 pick with Johnny.
All right, so I'm going to take Chris Hogan. I think with Edelman being suspended for 4 games, he'll see a nice jump in targets. I know he's not going to get them. He's not going to get them all though, but I do like his playmaking ability. He was making a lot of plays deep down the field before he got injured last year, so I think it's a pretty good pick here.
All right, and then on the turn here to do the 5th and 6th round, we may wrap it up here after the 6th. We'll see how we're doing on time.
We're at 40 right now, so we're doing pretty good.
We'd probably go through 7 then.
Yeah.
Dan, go ahead and take us around the turn.
I'm going to do, I need running backs here. I don't think you guys have noticed that, just in case if you hadn't. I'm going to go with Sony Michel and Aaron Jones here. 2 higher upside type of picks. Michel may take at least a couple weeks to get going, but
I got a did you know on Sony Michel because I just projected the Patriots and didn't get this into the AFC East episode. But did you know that over the last 5 seasons, the Patriots have had 1 running back with over 200 carries? 1. And the other running backs played no more than 12 games when that happened. Otherwise, their highs were about 180. And there was only 1 season in those last 5 where 2 running backs played 16 games. So they really spread it out.
I know.
Don't they have the top 5 PPR scoring, though, for running backs 3 out of the last 4 years?
For running backs, sure, but how many running backs are you spreading that across? Because they usually have a dedicated pass-catching back. In the last several years, that's been James White. If the idea is that Michel's going to hit the Lewis role, he's only going to see about 38 to 45 targets, whereas James White's going to see 70 to 80.
And this is a guy where White dominated early season last year. Deion Lewis got back healthy, got back into the offense, and then completely dominated afterwards, where James White was phased out. If Lewis
targets per game, White dominated Lewis. And that was something I didn't expect to see until I ran the averages.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Lewis didn't see that much pass catching work.
No, he didn't. You would think he did because of the way that he produced, but he didn't. And when you break it down,
They're using them between tackles.
But there's not a whole lot to like here at running back either. And
No.
I do think that Sony Michel fills that Deion Lewis role. And for the Patriots at 180 rushes with another 40-ish targets at a high catch rate, he's going to see over 200 touches.
I mean,
by the time it's said and done.
I have to laugh that you guys are jumping all over Sony Michel here. I would take Sony Michel over Aaron Jones in a heartbeat. I don't have those two.
I love Aaron Jones, and just doing my deep diving and why I picked Aaron Jones, I think he wins that backfield outright. He
has been the most impressive.
Yeah, he's shown that he can be efficient and impressive with Aaron Rodgers on the field, as opposed to Jamal Williams, who's been meh.
Yeah,
in that same styled offense.
All right, Johnny, you're up at the 602.
I don't really feel great about this pick, but I'm going to take a little bit of a reach on Kerryon Johnson here.
Yeah,
I just feel like he has a chance to have a 3-down role, and he's going in the 6th round. It might not come to fruition, but I'm going to take the chance here at this point in the draft.
No, that's a good shot. I think that Detroit is desperately looking for running back help, and with Blunt there, but Blunt should be more of a first, second down, short yardage type of guy, so like he has been his entire career.
They
So
want to use carry on the edge.
yep.
All right, Hopper, you're up at the 603. Sorry.
All right, so this is a situation where I've got pretty good balance on this team, so I'm probably looking to go in kind of a best available type of role, and I had this figured out, and no, I don't have this figured out. So talk for a minute.
Well, let's talk about the rounds, what we've seen. So from round 5, you had Jarvis Landry at the 501, Delaney Walker, Royce Freeman, Rashad Penny, J.J., Russell Wilson, Marvin Jones, Devin Funchess, Josh Gordon, Randall Cobb, Chris Hogan, and Sony Michel.
Oh, sorry. I know what I want to do here. Carson Wentz. So Carson Wentz, you can have concerns about the ACL. He's ahead of schedule. I think that he does come back. He does start week 1. He was running and throwing in OTAs. He was on track to be a top 5 quarterback last season. I hate Deshaun Watson, who most people have as a QB 2 or 3. I'm going to go Carson Wentz just because we've got good balance everywhere else on this team. So let's go ahead and try to get a top 5 quarterback upside in with some of that other stuff that I've got going on at tight end, running back, that type of thing. Not a popular pick, but I'll take it in the 7th.
All right.
And yes, ahead of Cam Newton.
Well, I seem to do this every year. I'm going to go ahead and just buy into Sammy Watkins and take it.
Hashtag fuck it.
Between Smith-Schuster, Gordon, Watkins, I figure at least one of those guys should hit for at least a mid to high wide receiver 2. And then hopefully the others can be wide receiver 3s for me, and I can balance out my 3 running backs I started with. Dan,
How many
you
targets do you think Sammy's going to get?
how many targets? Probably 95 to 110 range.
I've got him at 97, I think. So I'm right there with you. After I projected all of this out and looked at all of this, I just saw him. Hold on. I can give you exactly what I got him at. 97 targets, 58 receptions, 911 yards, 7 touchdowns is what I have him projected for.
That sounds good.
That's
a
not bad.
Good flex season. That's
Yeah,
a
if
good
he-
wide receiver 3.
Hey, if he's
season
my
right there.
wide receiver 3, then I am fine with that. If I have to rely on him to be my 2, I'm going to be a little upset.
I want to go with a guy here that I've had a man crush with all I guess this offseason. That's me, Jamison Crowder here as my flex spot with this receiver. I just love his upside as a wide receiver 2 with Alex Smith. I think he's the best receiver in this offense, and I think he's the best receiver being paired with Alex Smith.
How did I miss Devin Funchess getting drafted and not hating on that?
I have no idea. I was just going to let that roll.
Sorry.
I talked right to you. I was just like, huh.
I don't know what
no
I was.
rebuttal.
I don't know what I was doing.
I don't either. I don't know what Dan was doing
Oh,
with
I
the
was
pick.
looking at my rankings. That's what I was doing. Sorry. Anyway, Dan, you're up. Let's see what you do to follow up Devin Funchess.
I just made my pick with Jamison Crowder.
Oh, no, good call there.
Better than Funchess.
It wasn't typed in yet.
I'm trying to do everything at once here. Give me a break.
All right, Johnny, you are up with the 6th pick in the 7th round. You've got Kamara, Evans, Kelsey, Rogers, Jones so far.
Looking at this team, I realize how much I hate going early quarterback and early tight end.
And this is why you mock.
Yep. So I really need a running back. I only have Kamara, and I really don't feel great about this running back I'm about to draft. But there's a lot of potential there if something were to happen. So I'm going to take Tevin Coleman.
And he should be safe-ish. You should get some flex level production out of him at minimum.
I feel like he had, let's say at the very least he has running back 2-3 value standalone, and if something were to happen to Freeman, I mean he's going to get a lot more work. So.
All right. Coming in at the 6 here.
All right, so for me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Ronald Jones here as my running back 3 on this team. He's got running back 1 upside in this offense. He's a playmaker. You've got some injury concern there, but I do not believe in whoever the other guy is that's there that I can't think of
Peyton
right
Barber.
now. Yeah, Peyton Barber. Don't believe in him. So, especially Jameis out the first couple weeks, I think Ronald Jones is a very intriguing guy with at least flex upside. I've already got Jordan Howard and Lamar Miller, 2 very safe guys. So let's go ahead and take a risk.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take a risk here too, just because Ronald Jones was going to be my pick here, and now I have to drop down an entire another tier. So sniped hard.
Nice.
I'm going to go ahead and go with Marlon Mack, who I still buy as the running back in Indianapolis. I like what they've done with their run blocking. Having Luck back should help the passing game and help open up some lanes for him. And I like that he's added a bunch of weight this offseason. So he's a guy I'm investing in. And then mid to late sixth round, I'm fine taking him there.
I don't know if you've heard this or not with your color coding, but Doug Baldwin is absolutely not a wide receiver or not a running back.
Oh, whoops. I must have listened to that.
So that was throwing me off a little bit.
I guess for my last pick in this mock draft, I'm going to go with one of my favorite quarterbacks bounce back, and Drew Brees. I'm definitely buying into the fact that he's going to positively regress from his career low 23 touchdowns with the Saints.
So we're actually going to go through 7 rounds, so it won't be your last pick.
Okay.
But
We're on this
is round 7.
This is round 7.
no, this is round 6.
No. Oh, it is round 6. Sorry.
Just
I
kidding.
was looking at cell numbers and I forgot there's a header row. Wednesday's going to be real fun.
We're organized and good at this.
Okay. Johnny, you're up. You've got Zeke, Freeman, Thielen, Jeffrey Freeman on this team right now. You were going at the 609, I think.
6'10".
6'10". Math.
All right, 6'10". I'm going to grab Pierre Garçon, which looks like he should be the number one receiver in an exciting, which should be an exciting offense. We're all anticipating that at least. I still have some doubts, but I'm gonna take a chance with the guy that can have a lot of upside as my wide receiver 3.
All right. And Hopper, you're up with your second to last pick on this team.
I cannot fucking believe I'm doing this, but Cam Newton.
We've come full circle, folks.
I haven't come full circle at all, but I got Gurley, McKinnon, Baldwin, Thomas, Walker. I like my teams to be balanced. He's there. He's traditionally been a top 5 quarterback, no matter how boom busty and crappy it may be. He's somebody I would definitely probably pair a late round quarterback like a Trubisky with, just in case I see a really terrible matchup that I don't like. But the upside is there. They added receiving weapons, even though he's never been a good passer. It feels gross, but I have to do it.
All right. Normally at this point, since it's a 3 wide receiver league, I would normally go all in on wide receivers, but there's still a lot I like that I think can come back to me here in the 8th, 9th, 10th that I can pair with Cooks, Landry, and kind of cobble together a starting team. So I'm going to go for home runs here at the quarterback and tight end position, and I'm going to grab Tom Brady and Greg Olsen to finish off this mock draft with this team. So that's the first team done here. It's Bell, McCaffrey, Mixon, Cooks, Landry, Brady, Olsen. Hopper, you got your last pick.
Well, I like the Greg Olsen pick there a lot. So
Same here.
For my last pick with this team, I don't know what I'm going to do. Somebody speak.
All right. I mean, so going this. So the draft strategy for team 1 started with 3 running backs, then went 2 wide receivers, then went quarterback, tight end. How do you think that team looks overall?
I love your first team. I'm not high on Cooks, but I'm assuming you're going to be pairing your receiving core with some more of the, I guess, floor guys too as well to help balance that out.
Yeah, I'd be looking for some guys like Kupp, maybe even pair 2 guys off the same team there. Try to maybe grab Rashard Matthews.
Hopper's got his pick. Pick is in.
I got it. This is a guy who's normally I would not take this early just because his ADP is 5 rounds later, or 6 rounds later. I'm going to take Nelson Aguilar. He finished as wide receiver 22 last year, and I think that when I really broke this down, and this is why I'm meh on Jeffrey, they saw a pretty even split for targets. It was relatively close, and I expect that to be more of the same, especially when I deep dove Jeffrey's peripherals. So I think Aguilar is kind of on the up and up. I've already got Thomas and Baldwin, so this is a guy I shouldn't have to rely on to start if I don't want to, but if he takes off, it's really going to pay off.
Something I saw when I actually looked at that is that their stats between Aguilar and Jeffrey kind of flip-flop from first half to second half as you saw Wentz and Jeffrey get more comfortable with each other.
Still solid, though.
Yeah. No, I still love the pick. I'm just saying that.
Well, I don't love it in the 7th, but I wanted to get it out there. Normally, this is something I would do in the 11th or 12th just because of where I know other people value him.
It's good to talk about it.
I want to get a piece of that Philadelphia offense.
All right. Johnny, you are up with your last pick on this team.
All right. I'm going to go with Evan Ingram. I think he's fell enough for me to feel comfortable drafting him, and I need a tight end, so I think it's a good fit. I'm not really. I know I am a little bit worried though about like the overall target volume because there's so many people that you can feed in that offense. You got Beckham and you got Sterling Shepard, now Barkley. It's going to be hard to stop them all, and I know it's going to be a little bit unpredictable when he's going to hit. But he was like tight end 5 last year in his rookie year, and he fell to me in the 7th round. So I feel like it's a pretty good value.
Yeah, I don't dislike that at all. That's about right where I've got him, is kind of that tight end 6-7 range. So I like that. Dan, you're up.
I don't know how he kind of fell this far, but I'm going to go with the wide receiver 1 upside and Corey Davis here to pair up with AJ Green and Amari Cooper, David Johnson, and then to kind of help maybe protect the Mark Ingram, Rashad Penny picks. But I love getting this type of value in the 7th round.
It's about where I like him.
And sniped. All right, well, I had another name on my mind in case I did not get Corey Davis here. I'm going to go ahead and grab Michael Crabtree to pair with Brown and Jones. I figure I'll just have 3. If I can have 3 receivers who all should get over 100 targets, that's usually a pretty good start to a team. Hopper, you are up with your last pick in the 706.
Speaking of receivers that could see over 100 targets, I'm going to go with Pierre Garcon.
He already
went.
Oh, did he? I knew I was going to do that at some point because I'm not marking.
I'm actually surprised
we almost made it to the end.
I'm actually pretty surprised.
We almost made it. Okay, well, then in that case, I had a backup option in mind that I was also debating on. I'm going to go with Cooper Kupp then. He's got great rapport with Jared Goff. Cook's coming in does not hurt him all that much to me. Goff loved throwing to Cooper Kupp, and with the kind of the short range passing offense that they use, he's really kind of made for that. So give me some floor to go with T.Y. Hilton and DeAndre Hopkins, especially if Luck doesn't come back 100%.
Yeah, this team, it's got Hilton and Jones as kind of the boom bust, and the rest of the team is incredibly safe so far.
Yeah,
Hilton's kind of safe if Luck is back and healthy, though. So he's boom bust, but he's got a decent floor to him. So
well, no, he'll have a solid floor on the year. He's still boom bust though, like week to week. He's better than Cooks, but he's still a bit of a headache.
Yeah, I love him with Luck though.
Johnny, you're up with your last pick in the 707.
Well, I don't feel comfortable with Tevin Coleman as my RB2, so I'm going to try and take another chance at the guy I think can catch some passes, Chris Thompson, to go maybe as like a rotational piece for my RB2 because I just don't feel comfortable. But in that offense, I just feel like they're going to be losing a lot, and he's going to be soaking up a lot of like late catches, and I think that'll help him return his value here in the 7th round.
All right, Dan, your last pick with your 8 out of the A slot here.
So this team needs running backs. If I'm drafting with this team, I'm definitely looking running back here. I'm going to go with PPR upside type of back and Duke Johnson. He just got paid. There's obviously a very secure role with him. Carlos Hyde is a decent pass catching back, but Duke Johnson's rolling. I think he's going to have a great year.
All right. So coming back here around to the 9th spot here, I basically kind of set on wide receiver and running back, unless I want to keep throwing wide receivers at that to bolster that up. And there's nobody I really love right now at the wide receiver position, so I think I am just going to go quarterback here, and I'm going to go ahead and grab Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Just try to lock down a guy who I think easily should have a shot at a top 5-6 finish at quarterback this season.
That's a really good pick on Kirk Cousins. So I like him here versus where he's been drafted. So for me, I feel like I need another running back on this team. I don't know why I feel that way. I just kind of do. I mean, it's Kareem Hunt, Melvin Gordon, but you've got some risks there. Gordon hasn't necessarily been the most efficient guy in the world. And Kareem Hunt, you did see disappear for a little bit last year. I'm going to go ahead and take Isaiah Crowell. He's a guy that has a lot of opportunity with the New York Jets. His peripherals last year weren't bad. It was the fact that he wasn't used is why the performance wasn't there. Plus, he was hyped so much in the offseason. So I think you got a little bit of almost like a hype bias going on with him because of how you expected him to do versus how he actually did. But I don't. Bilal Powell's never been the guy. His career high carries is 178.
So, and the thing with Crowell, too, is the yards were there last year. He just didn't get touchdowns.
Exactly.
If he got touchdowns, he would have been fine last year.
Yep. So, I like him here as kind of a flex / safety from Melvin Gordon and Kareem Hunt.
All right. Johnny, your last pick?
I'm gonna take a chance here. I know this is gonna be real gross to do, but I'm gonna take Devontae Parker. Just he could potentially be the number 1 receiver in Miami for what that's worth, but he's just always disappointed in the past. I mean, I feel real gross about it, but I'll take a chance at this point.
In the late 7th, I'm fine with it. He was my next wide receiver up on my list, so I agree with you there. All right, Dan, you're up.
Last pick of the draft, I guess Mr. Irrelevant, kind of. I don't like this guy, but I like the value. It's kind of okay with it. I'm going to take Derrick Henry.
I don't like him either, but
in the 7th round, yeah.
It's the last pick in the 7th round.
I like him there.
A guy who should see upwards of 185 to 200, I guess, touches, probably even carries to that point. He's going to get all the goal line work in a Tennessee offense that should be a lot better than last year.
Should have noticed about the 6th and 7th round. It feels gross. Nothing feels good in that 6th, 7th,
because if
8th
guys
round.
slide, you're just like, why do I have to take them?
I mean, even once you get through about the mid-3rd, it starts to get a little like, I'm not quite sure. And then once you get to the 4th, 5th, 6th, it gets real ugly.
And then when I get to the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, then I feel good about some of the quarterbacks and tight ends and some of the other upside that's there. But those middle rounds, everything feels like a reach.
Yeah, because you feel like you should have some more confidence in the guys you're taking, but everyone's kind of feels a little gross.
Yeah, it does.
We also, a lot of us draft the same. So a lot of the players that are being drafted late, like a guy like Derrick Henry, would not be available in the last 7th.
When we get into some of our non-expert leagues and some of our home leagues and stuff, you got to figure that some of those guys are going to fall.
Yep, I definitely could see that, and that would help. That's going to help make things feel a little bit better when we're actually drafting. So Derrick Henry is going to be kind of the star player I was going to highlight who didn't get drafted until you took him with the last pick. So is there anybody else who didn't get drafted that surprises you?
In the first 7 rounds, I mean, no, not really. Just from what I've been looking at, there's really not anybody I saw that got overlooked. And it was smart for Deshaun Watson not to go there, even though his ADP is in the high 4th. I think everybody here realizes why that's a bad idea. As far as other guys that didn't go,
maybe Andrew Luck.
But you're still worried about the shoulder, and with what his ADP is, he should probably go later. Tight ends you could have seen gone that I don't think did, unless I missed them. Jimmy Graham, Kyle Rudolph were the other two that.
The big 6
that didn't go.
Or the big 8, I should say.
But I was thinking about taking Kyle Rudolph, but I already had Adam Thielen, and I was like, I'll just take a chance on Evan Ingram. So
if I can get either of those guys in the 8th, though, I'm happy about it.
Yep. Anybody else who didn't go off the board that surprised you guys?
I think that was about it.
I probably kind of expected Carlos Hyde would probably go at some point, just as running back, a little kind of desperate.
He's another one that might have went the next 2 rounds
Or
if we'd gone that far.
And Tariq Cohen.
Cohen, yeah, he's a guy I could see going between 8 and 10 just because of the, or between 7 and 9 maybe, just because of the upside that's there. But I think that also you got to realize that he is going to have some boom bust to his game.
All right. And then just pick one of your 3 teams and just give us a guy you would have probably been targeting at the next pick.
Okay, so Team 6 right now was missing a tight end, so I would have been looking to go Kyle Rudolph if he fell to me there, or Jimmy Graham. That right now is DeAndre Hopkins, Jordan Howard, T.Y. Hilton, Lamar Miller, Russell Wilson, Ronald Jones, Cooper Kupp. I would have tried to get on one of those big 6 at the next go-around.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I didn't take a tight end with any of my teams with Team 4, 8, or 12. At least one of them, if not 2 of them, would have been a tight end targeted. A guy like Ingram, Rudolph, Graham, especially Graham.
Yeah, I think that I think you and I, Dan, probably would have taken Graham and Rudolph off the board at 4 and 6.
Our turn pick here probably would have been Graham.
Yeah.
Yep. My 9th team there, I would have probably tried to grab Emmanuel Sanders coming around the corner there.
Yeah, just to throw another guy into that wide receiver race.
Too.
Yeah,
that's a great pick too.
Sitting there with Smith-Schuster, Gordon, Watkins, and Sanders, I feel like I'd be comfortable with that stable.
Yeah.
Nice stable.
All right, and then Johnny, anyone else you'd want to grab on one of your teams?
Well, I was looking at my team out of the 11 slot, and I was looking at my running backs. I mean, I got Barkley and Alex Collins, but then I only got Kerryon Johnson after that. I'd probably try to look to really slam hard at the running back for like 2 or 3 rounds. I'd probably take a guy like Carlos Hyde that be coming around the turn, or maybe a guy like even like Ty Montgomery later on, or Corey Clement.
So you would just try to fill up on as many running backs as you could for the next 3 or 4 picks.
Yeah.
All right, I can definitely see that. Yeah, that's a team that I think you're probably going quarterback, tight end late, just because you have so many guys that are solid, but you have some question marks if you have any elite guys. So you're probably just going to keep trying to load the stack the box at those 2 positions as much as possible. All right, anything we learned from this that players should be taking away?
Yeah, for the second draft in a row, the team I like the most is the one I went running back out in the first 2 rounds.
That's your Hunt Gordon team?
Yeah, that Hunt Gordon team is the one that I'm most comfortable with. So, and it's, I mean, really for as much best ball and mock and startups as we're doing right now, that seems to be the strategy that's working best for me so far.
Just because running back dries up so quickly?
Yep. So if I can get my top 2 that are potentially top 10s and then go make some dart throws on wide receivers, I've liked the way those have shaped out a lot better.
Yeah, I don't dislike any of my teams, but the team I feel probably the most nervous about is definitely my 5 slot where it's Brown, Jones, Gronkowski, where it's like this team could be awesome, but having Lewis, Ajayi, Mack as my top 3 running backs is a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And then obviously if you go, I guess my team 12, like if you choose to go either, 0 running back or 0 receiver, obviously you're going to have some weaknesses at the other spot there. So there are some nerves there where I went a little more boom bust ish with some upside and some pass catching upside with guys like Michelle Jones and then Henry, who I don't like, but I like the value there.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Johnny, for coming on. Do you want to shout out your social media stuff one last time?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Johnny Slokes, Slokes. Yeah, feel free to follow and talk some football. I'm free all the time.
All right. Well, thank you so much for jumping on, man. It's been great having you. Thank you for doing the mock draft with us. We are at Beerfield FF on Twitter, Instagram, and Untapped, and also on YouTube, Beerfield Fantasy Football. Individually, I'm at Nick Sparts. To my left is Christopher Hopper.
At Hot BFF with 2 P's.
Across the table is Dan Thury.
At Thury BFF with 2 F's.
Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next
time,
and we're going to be talking about some too high, too low. Later.
See ya.
Cheers, guys.